Welcome back to our channel. Carol Lynley grinned and said nothing for decades. The horrifying reality about her time in Hollywood has been revealed in her last interview. Biologically, that is normal. My reaction to any attempt by boys is always one of fear or revulsion. Cruel sabotage by envious co-stars, the dark secret, and risky film stunts that nearly killed her. She left the spotlight because of that. This was only the beginning of what transpired on the set of Poseidon Adventure. You will always view her differently after reading the true story. In Manhattan, New York City, on February 13, 1942, Carol Lynley was born Carolyn Jones. Her early years were difficult. She was raised by her mother, Frances, who put in a lot of effort to provide for them after her parents divorced. Frances made barely enough money waiting tables for a while. However, when Carol's inherent beauty attracted the modeling industry's attention, things began to shift. She was already employed as a child model at the age of 10. Among her first significant clients were Sears and Roebuck. Her youthful attractiveness won her over right away, and she soon found herself in national advertisements for Pepsodent and Clairol. Specifically, one campaign left a lasting impact. She began to be referred to as the Coca-Cola Girl, a moniker that followed her throughout her early career. Modeling was more than a job. It offered doors she never would have imagined and provided financial stability for her family. Carol spent her afternoons mastering the art of performing, while most children played outside. She studied posing for the camera, took dance classes, and had a profound understanding of the entertainment industry. Her mother also noticed her inherent presence. In an effort to foster her daughter's abilities, Frances always sought out chances to support her development. Carol's career took a significant shift when she was 15. With the headline, Caroline Lynley, 15, Busy Career Girl, she appeared on the cover of Life magazine in April 1957. A magazine feature wasn't all that it was. Life was one of the nation's largest magazines. She became well known across the country thanks to that cover, which also told Hollywood that she was prepared for a bigger role. The next step was acting, but there was a snag. Carolyn Lee had already been claimed by someone else when she attempted to register her name with the Actors Equity Association. A new stage name was needed. Rather than allowing it to stop her, she snatched Carolyn's final piece. Carol Lynley was the result of combining it with Lee. She entered a new world, and although the difference was slight, it offered her a new beginning. In 1957, Carol Lynley made her Broadway debut in The Potting Shed. Her role as 13-year-old in Califer, entangled in a family mystery, was played when she was still a teenager. It wasn't just any drama, either. It was psychologically complex. The weight of the past, identity, and secrets are explored. It was difficult for a young person. Lynley, however, left an impression. She was headed for greater things when her performance garnered her a Theatre World Award for Most Promising Personality. A guy named James Califer was the focus of the drama as he attempted to unearth a long-kept family secret. The renowned Sybil Thorndike and Robert Fleming were among the cast members of the show. Its emotional impact captured the attention of audiences. Time magazine commended it for portraying the emotions and hardships of everyday existence. This position was more than a stepping stone for Lynley. It distinguished her from many of the young actresses of the era by demonstrating her ability to handle difficult material. After a year, she moved to Hollywood. She made her cinematic debut in 1958. The Light in the Forest, a historical drama about identity and belonging, from Disney. She portrayed the role of Shenandoah, an enslaved girl who develops a bond with Johnny Butler, a Native American youngster who finds it difficult to fit in with white society. Because it was filmed in California and Tennessee, the movie feels genuine and natural. Lynley's portrayal embodied the elements of calm strength and innocence that would characterize many of her early appearances. She made a name for herself as a new talent with Disney, but she had no intention of staying safe. She worked on Blue Denim in 1959, a movie that addressed adolescent pregnancy at a period when few people dared to discuss it. Lynley portrayed Janet Willard, a young child who was confronted with an unintended pregnancy with Brandon DeWilde's character, her boyfriend. The movie's message was obvious even though it never specifically addressed abortion. Lynley made the story seem authentic, even though it was daring for its day. She demonstrated that she had more to give than just a charming smile by earning a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actress for her performance. The movie itself was innovative. Not typically explored in films, it depicted the anxiety and stress that young couples experienced. Lynley's portrayal of Janet was powerful yet being painful. She was provoking thought, not merely acting out a part. She was turning into an actress like that. Someone capable of taking on challenging narratives and making them seem genuine. However, she didn't end there. In the same year, she played Betsy Dean, a young woman traveling with her family, in Holiday for Lovers, a lighter role. In contrast to her prior film, it was charming and enjoyable. Then, in 1961, she returned to Peyton Place and assumed yet another significant position. Drama and controversy abound in the original Peyton Place, which was a phenomenon. As Allison Mackenzie, Lynley portrayed a young author attempting to make sense of small-town life while revealing the realities beneath its glossy exterior. Her portrayal of innocence and subdued resistance in the role resonated with viewers. Carol Lynley had already established herself by the early 1960s. She had always been renowned for portraying innocent and kind roles. She took on one of the most difficult roles of her career in 1965, which changed that. She portrayed in Lake, a mother who believes her daughter has been abducted, and Bunny Lake is missing. No one could verify that the child ever existed, therefore the police were powerless to assist her. The part was demanding. It forced Lynley into a new realm, very different from the innocent persona she had established in her previous movies. She was trusted by director Otto Preminger. She had already worked with him, and he picked her for the part despite Jane Fonda's strong desire. Laurence Olivier also acted in the movie as the cynical police superintendent. On the set, Olivier cautioned Preminger against being too severe with Lynley. He appreciated her emotional depth and acknowledged her sensitivity in the job. Unusual for its era, the movie experimented with reality. Audiences were kept in suspense as it examined mental fragility and paranoia. Lynley's performance received positive reviews. Her portrayal of Anne's despair was so compelling that it was hard to avoid getting sucked into the narrative. However, the film did not have the desired impact on her career, despite its positive reception. The subsequent parts fell short of Bunny Lake is Missing's depth. In the same year, Lynley assumed a significant new job. She played the role of Jean Harlow in the Hollywood Legends biography. She might have made a breakthrough with the movie, but there was a catch. Carol Baker starred in another Harlow film that was released at the same time. It featured a lead actress with more experience and a larger budget. Lynley's version received little notice from critics and audiences. The moment was frustrating. Her age had been ideal for the role of Harlow. She wanted to play the part, but the poor production value of the movie hindered her chances. It turned out to be just another unfulfilled idea rather than demonstrating her ability to carry a big-budget movie. She persisted in her efforts to reinvent herself. In the same year, she took a risk. She gave Playboy a naked photo. This was an assertion for someone who had a reputation for portraying morally upright roles. She wished for a different perception of her. To demonstrate that she was prepared for increasingly responsible duties, she was prepared to take chances. Was mixed. While some interpreted it as an attempt to boost a faltering career, others applauded her confidence. It was a turning point, in any case. Her image in Hollywood would never be the same. The industry did not, however, immediately begin to offer her the parts she desired. By the late 1960s, her cinematic work had begun to deteriorate. She took on initiatives with promise but insufficient funding or clear guidance to have a significant effect. There was a scary movie in the closed chamber that was based on an H.P. In a Lovecraft tale, she portrayed a woman ensnared in an unsettling family mystery. It wasn't the kind of movie that altered careers, but it did have some unsettling moments. Next was Once You Kiss a Stranger, in which she portrayed a deceitful, insane lady. It was a character she had never played before. Although she performed well, the movie overall felt like a B-movie thriller. Not much attention was paid to it. This was followed by the Poseidon Adventure. Nani Perry, portrayed by Carol Lynley, was a nightclub singer who became entangled in the turmoil of the Poseidon Adventure. What set her apart was that she wasn't the most courageous or the strongest. Nani wasn't made to last. Without her brother, she was scared, unable to keep up, and totally lost. She was one of the most likable characters in the movie, though, because of it. Early in the film, she sings The Morning After, a little moment of peace before catastrophe strikes. Though Lynley didn't perform it, the song went on to become one of the movie's most well-known elements. The performance's true voice was that of Renee Armand. The audiences didn't care. The sequence will never be forgotten because of Lynley's delivery. Later that year, Maureen McGovern's song became a tremendous hit and won an Academy Award for Best Original Song. The movie itself permanently altered catastrophe movies. People were fighting for their lives, not just causing destruction. Featuring a stellar ensemble that included Shelley Winters, Ernest Borgnine, and Gene Hackman, it was directed by Irwin Allen. Just having well-known names wasn't enough. Additionally, the viewers had to feel trapped in the film. When the Poseidon Adventure debuted in theaters in December 1972, it was an enormous hit. It generated more than $125 million globally, demonstrating that there was something exceptional. The film was nearly as difficult to make as the story it presented. Because the set was intended to resemble the interior of a capsized ship, the actors faced actual physical difficulties. They were forced to swim, crawl, and climb through the wreckage. Not many safety precautions were used. They truly had to battle if they had to go through water. Stage lights were set up on the floor, and the heat was so strong that it scorched their shoes. Carol Lynley was forced to endure it, just like the other actors. Water and fire situations were among the most hazardous. To simulate burning oil on water, the filmmakers applied propane coating to metal plates. Because it was real, it appeared real. The set was smoke-filled. The water was freezing. Although injuries occurred frequently, this added to the film's realism. When the actors appeared worn out, they were. Carol Lynley's career on television was a master study in adaptability. On Hawaii Five-0, a program that captivated viewers with its compelling crime stories set against the stunning backdrop of the Hawaiian Islands, she was a recognizable face. Lynley was perfectly suited to the series, which ran for more than 10 years. Her roles weren't one-off appearances that were quickly forgotten. She gave them nuance and ensured that they contributed something significant to the narrative. Her work with The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was another significant turning point. The spy thriller had already gained international popularity by the time she made an appearance in the 4th season. There was a lot of action, peril, and intrigue, yet Lynley handled it with ease. She was a part of the Prince of Darkness affair, a 2-part drama, and she was obviously a part of that universe. She did more than simply fill a scene, she improved it. She was also a regular on Fantasy Island, a show that was known for its suspense and surprising turns. She made 11 appearances over the years, making her one of the most well-known guest stars. Every time she came back, she played a different persona, but she always made sure the audience knew who she was. She portrayed a variety of personalities with ease, including glamorous ones and ones that were trapped in weird and unsettling circumstances. Her Charlie's Angels appearances were equally powerful. With its action, suspense, and secretive characters, that show had a distinct aesthetic. Lynley was a natural fit in that world. Her ability to keep the audience guessing was evident in her frequent portrayals of women with ulterior agendas. She was erratic yet charming at the same time. That contributed to her excellence. She possessed a unique talent for switching between jobs without losing her unique qualities. She may portray a woman in peril, an enigmatic character, or someone involved in a complex plot. She created a sense of urgency and terror that drew viewers farther into science fiction and eerie series like Night Gallery and The Invaders. Her portrayals brought the unreal to life. In chic crime series like Heart to Heart and It Takes a Thief, she also flourished. She had no issue keeping up with these productions, which were all about elegance, quick-paced narratives, and surprising turns. She ensured that her characters had an impact, whether she was portraying a crafty socialite or someone entangled in a perilous scheme. Then came her parts in dramas with a crime theme, such as Mannix and Kojak. Lynley easily adapted to the more somber tone of these productions. She portrayed people with complicated histories and secrets they didn't want revealed. She wasn't merely a cameo. She immersed herself in the universe of every show she was in. TV shows weren't the only source of her success. She also gained popularity in television films, particularly intense thrillers. In 1972, one of her most popular songs was The Night Stalker. The movie would later become a cult classic. She portrayed Gail Foster, the girlfriend of Carl Kolchak, an investigative reporter who was in Las Vegas hunting for a contemporary vampire. The combination of mystery and terror in the picture made it the highest-rated television movie of its era, demonstrating how popular it was. Despite not playing a major part, Lynley's presence gave the narrative an important element. The Elevator, released in 1974, was her next big hit. The movie had a lot of tension. An elevator trapped a bunch of individuals, and the danger grew with each second that went by. Lynley portrayed a fugitive caught in the midst of everything. Despite having a straightforward idea, the tension kept viewers on edge. She was able to convey to the audience the emotions of her character, whether they were fear, despair, or determination. Carol Lynley's life, meantime, went by quickly. In December 1960, she married publicist Michael Selzman at the age of 18. She had already established herself in Hollywood by that point, thanks to her parts in Blue Denim and The Light in the Forest. She even received a nomination for Most Promising Newcomer at the Golden Globes. Although her profession was growing, her marriage was not. She separated from Selzman in 1964, a mere 4 years later. It had been a short relationship. Their daughter Jill, who went on to become a short film filmmaker, was the one enduring link it brought. It wasn't easy to juggle a Hollywood career and parenthood at such a young age. Despite being divorced before the age of 20, Lynley subsequently acknowledged that she didn't feel like a teenager until she was 26. It was the effect of growing up in the spotlight. Despite forcing them into maturity too soon, it nonetheless kept them trapped in a society where youth was valued above all else. However, Lynley didn't let anything hold her back. Despite her personal troubles, she continued to work, landing jobs in movies and television shows. She had a relationship with British broadcaster David Frost that was one of the longest and most complex of her life. They were in a romantic relationship from 1964 to 1981, which lasted for almost 20 years. Frost was a well-known figure in television, renowned for his conversations with foreign leaders, such as Richard Nixon. His connection to Lynley was well known. When reporters noticed them dancing late into the night on the Queen Mary in 1967, they took note. Later, Lynley used the straightforward phrase "extraordinary person" to describe him, and it said a lot. The course of their relationship was never conventional. Despite spending years together, they never got married or made a lasting commitment. They lived on their own terms during a period when romantic relationships were supposed to end in marriage. Not allowing fame or expectations to push them in a different direction, two prominent and successful individuals made room for one another. Next up was Frank Sinatra. Although Lynley's time with him was brief, it was just as passionate. They reportedly began dating about 1973 and dated for roughly 3 years. Sinatra was imposing, charismatic, and demanding. The type of man who, as soon as he entered the room, took charge of it. He had a lengthy history of high-profile relationships, and Lynley joined them. Carol Lynley appeared to possess everything. She was successful, youthful, and attractive. Behind the glitz and glamour, though, she was struggling with terrible acne that made her feel alienated. Clear skin meant more to a young model than appearances. Her career was on the line. In an attempt to correct something beyond her control, she underwent rigorous therapy for 2 years. Not only was it painful, it was very draining. Though it was meant to be a dream, modeling left her feeling stuck. She claimed at one point to have felt cut off from reality and trapped in a weird transitional state between childhood and adulthood. She covered up what she believed to be her flaws in front of cameras while other children went to school and socialized with their peers. And she didn't get the acclaim she wanted in Hollywood. She never received a nomination for an Academy Award, despite her best efforts. In one interview, she made light of it by drawing comparisons to her co-star Shelley Winters, who received numerous nominations. On the inside, though, it wasn't a joke. She desired that moment. She desired not to be viewed as merely another attractive actress. She attempted to escape the inventive roles. Her part as Jean Harlow in Harlow, which she played in 1965, had the potential to completely alter her life. However, it was a box office failure. And it turned out to be yet another setback rather than a breakthrough. Carol Lynley was a risk-taker. She refused to be influenced by Hollywood and made audacious decisions. In 1965, she posed naked for Playboy, one of the riskiest moves she ever made. For a mainstream actress at the time, this was a startling step. In a field that criticized women for everything, Lynley saw it as taking charge of her own image. Some referred to it as liberating, while others warned it would destroy her career. Age, looks, and the roles they selected. Actors who were men had it easier. They might get older and continue to acquire prominent positions. They could be regarded as bold for taking chances. Not all women enjoyed such luxury. Playboy's reaction to Lynley's posing was swift. Despite being viewed as controversial by the same industry that ignored much worse behavior from males, she continued on her path. She continued to work, establishing a decades-long career. She was able to overcome the Poseidon experience in 1972 thanks to that same resolve. Making the movie was cruel, but it ended up becoming a huge smash. Long days were spent soaking wet by Lynley and the rest of the ensemble. The set was hazardous. No actual safety precautions were in place for the first 2 weeks. The director aimed for a realistic sense. Lynley had no safety net if she slipped on a catwalk. 6 stories down, she would have hit solid concrete. The strain on the body was wearing. However, Lynley had to cope with stress in the background as well. Her co-star Red Buttons appeared to be resentful of her. He made sure she felt as though she was receiving special care because he thought she was. When a risky stunt was needed, he waited for her to perform it first. It was more than just a safety issue. It was a test, a means of exerting pressure on her. Afterward, Shelley Winters appeared. She was a Hollywood icon, gifted but challenging. When other performers voiced their disapproval, Lynley supported her, claiming that her talent compensated for her foul temper. However, a live television interview caused a change in their relationship. Winters had forgotten Lynley's name entirely. It wasn't a simple mishap. It seemed like a willful omission. Lynley felt enraged. Later on, she made a joke about telling Winters' secretary that she wanted to hit her in the nose. She chuckled about it. The annoyance was genuine, though. In 2006, Carol Lynley retired from acting, capping a more than 50-year career. Her last appearance was in Vic, a short film that Sylvester Stallone's son Sage Stallone directed. It was an appropriate way to end a journey that has seen her in more than 100 TV series and movies. She had already irrevocably changed Hollywood by that point. The decision to retire was deliberate. Perhaps motivated by a wish to escape the limelight and concentrate on her private life. Her influence, however, persisted even after she left the field. Her work was still praised by fans, and critics recognized her enduring influence. Lynley has had a truly extraordinary career. Before swiftly moving on to Broadway and early television appearances, she began her career as a child model and actress. With roles in Blue Denim and The Light in the Forest, she was already making a name for herself on the big screen by the late 1950s. These early triumphs paved the way for movies like The Poseidon Adventure, Return to Peyton Place, and Bunny Lake is Missing. She made a memorable appearance in the movie as The Morning After, but Renee Armand actually dubbed her voice. Lynley's on-screen presence made the sequence memorable despite that detail. Giving up performing was a significant turning point in her life. She discussed the potential for a professional comeback, but she had not wavered in her resolve to quit. She prioritized her hobbies and philanthropic endeavors over taking on more roles. Nevertheless, her impact persisted. Her understated but impactful farewell performance in Vic served as a reminder of the talent and commitment that had characterized her career. Lynley died of a heart attack on September 3, 2019, at her Pacific Palisades, California, home. Her age was 77. Many people were shocked by her unexpected death. She had been characterized as vibrant, engaged, and energetic, never seeming to be in a state of diminishing health. When word of her death spread, both the entertainment business and fans expressed their sorrow. She had been bringing characters to life for her whole career. And she was still adored even after retiring. There were other noteworthy events in her personal life. From 1960 to 1964, she was wed to publicist Michael Selzman. She then had a well-known affair with English broadcaster David Frost. The mystery surrounding her existence was increased by these connections as well as her experience in Hollywood. The impact of Lynley's work endures even after her death. She produced a body of work that is still admired, whether it was from her early breakthrough roles or her latter appearances. Retrospectives and tributes have preserved her memory and guaranteed that her impact will continue on. Her legacy will live on because of the stories she told and the performances she gave, which still have an impact today.